Hi everyone, Amy here from Transform at Amy Bourque Yoga, and I have been working on our next yoga teacher training. I'm kind of calling it more of a yoga training, and I was thinking about the difference between online trainings and in-person trainings because I have had some people ask me those questions like what's the difference. So I figured I'll break it down for you. Now, first and foremost, this is not to say one is better than the other, but just to give you some comparisons and then talk a little bit about the Transform 200-hour yoga training that's starting in the fall. So first of all, I have taken both types of trainings. I have taken in-person trainings and I have taken online trainings. Um, and I've received wonderful things from both ends, really. Personally, I will just say right up front that I prefer an in-person training, and I'll break it down why that is. So first of all, there are two types of in-person training. There's all in person with without any like digital resources. You show up every time that the training is in person, and that's it. You get a training manual. You have some assignments to do and some personal work to do. Then there's the in-person with the online platform, digital manuals, and things like that. Then there's two types of online trainings. There's online with live classes and it's partially self-paced. And then there's online with all recordings and it's 100% self-paced. So there's not a lot of interaction with actually the instructors. So I've taken both, and I always come back to that. I really just love the energy of being in person. I think there's something very powerful about that. But there's also something very convenient about an online training. And I think there's a time and a place for both. But an in person training has a more immersive feel in a sacred space. It removes you from your daily life and it puts you in this space for several hours where you really have to focus and there's less distractions. There's a more accountability in my opinion because you actually have to get up and go somewhere, and it takes you away from your regular everyday life where there's a million distractions. In person also requires you to travel, so that could be a downfall of it, that you have to actually travel and weather and taking yourself out of your life, your regular life, and all the responsibilities. So I personally feel that there can be a deeper connection in an in-person training and with the group. Although I have taken some online trainings where I felt very very connected, not specifically yoga, but more of my Ayurvedic training. There was I had a really good group of people that I was connected to, but still it took me to really focus and really be accountable. I didn't, I had to be accountable for myself. Um, so there could be a stronger embodiment feeling to an in-person training, and maybe a stronger sense of community. But I really can't speak for everybody. That's a personal thing. Um, in an in-person training, there is more of an ability to obviously have hands-on assists, and there's something about energetically being in a room physically that you can actually see the person and you can adjust them a little bit better and adjust their teaching style or how they're presenting the class, and how they're actually doing with the yoga training, how you're doing the poses can be, there's a physical hands-on component to that, which I feel is extremely important, especially for if you're taking a yoga training for the very first time. Um, there's the energy of the group, which I've already mentioned that, and there's the spontaneous conversation and connections that happen during lunchtime, during breaks. Maybe there'd be a spontaneous, let's get out and do a loop around the block and just step away from the training for a moment, and a lot can happen in those moments. Personal, deeper connections. Um, The teachers are a little bit more physically there, like I already mentioned, for mentorship. Not saying on online training that teachers aren't there for mentorship, because in many of my online trainings that I took, I did have some good mentorship, but it just wasn't the same because trainings, there was 50 people in the training online, so it just was different. It wasn't intimate like, 10 or 12 people. And there's a lot of motivation from the group, but you can get that from online too. But just there's that, again, I'm just an energetic person that likes that likes to be in person with people. Although I do these, I do some online stuff. And then, second, so when we move on to the online training, um, everything is done at home or your chosen space. So with live or recorded videos. So the recorded lectures and PDFs are, you can be accessing them anytime, anywhere. You can be on vacation, which is great. Recorded material, can be accessed over and over. And then there's a flexible schedule. If it's self-paced, you really have to be motivated to finish it. And some of the trainings, I will admit, online, I felt a little lonely and I felt a little lost. Like I didn't have that personal connection. It might have just been that style of training. So I'm not going to blanket it over all online trainings. You also might not receive the same energy of a group practice, of practicing in a group, opposed to practicing at home. Some people may feel better being at home. I think there's great power to being in person. It really gets you out of your comfort zone, instead of just, being in your home. Or there's more distractions. You're seeing, laundry needs to be done, kids are in the background, pets are getting in the way. Sometimes that's fun though, but you're thinking about work, you're thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner, this and that. When you're removed from it, in an in-person training, you're not really thinking about that. You're really immersed. You're getting verbal cues from online and demos opposed to the hands-on assist that I mentioned. And, the good thing is you can hit pause in an online training and you can rewind and take notes that way too. There's, you do get a digital community with a lot of online trainings, Facebook, group pages and things like that, which is awesome. But just really up to you to form those connections. And then there's got to be that, like I said, that intentional connection building component, that you're being very intentional about building connections. Online, you get maybe a little bit more global network of teachers, but you may never meet them in person. Maybe you will. Maybe if you go on a vacation, you might meet them, or if you go on a retreat, you might meet them. So pros and cons here. Requires more self-motivation online, obviously, and time management. That's a big thing, time management. It's easy to be like, I'll do it tomorrow. With in person, it's like, no, it's got to be done this week. Done. So yeah, I just wanted to mention, those are some of the pros and cons to it, of being in person or online. I've taken both, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the Transform Yoga training, and I'm going to tell you that I have kind of developed this training to be a little bit of both. In the sense that there's 100% in person. You will be meeting in person for all of the sessions. But I created this online platform, and that is where you have access to so much material and your assignments, and you're held accountable. Anybody who's taken the training you can talk to anybody. I will hold you accountable, so you will finish. Even in those tough moments when you say, I can't do this anymore. That's just not an answer for me or a reason for me. So I will help you through. You get really a lot of mentorship. You can talk to anybody who's taken any of my trainings. I will not desert you. I will be there. And it's such a community. So you get the online platform so you can go back and look throughout the training, and you can refer back to all these videos and things like that. I have, a lot of material that I'll be sharing. And like I said, you are accountable to showing up those 20 Sundays between the end of September and May. And, you know, if something happens, if that one snowstorm happens or something happens, you know, there is that ability to Zoom in. I don't openly give that an option because then it makes it too easy for people to just say, I'm going to Zoom in and then nobody shows up. But really, it's you do need to show up, and that's how you really transform is when you're held accountable and you show up. So I have created this program where there's both. You get the best of both worlds. So we can connect in all sorts of ways. We connect online and we connect in person, and you get to the feel of the whole transform community. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of break it down for you that you know, the opportunity to kind of have the best of both worlds is present in this transform 200-hour yoga training. It is extremely transformative. It has changed so many lives. I'm not even just saying that to, you know, like boost it up at all. The proof is in the past graduates who have literally said that it has changed their life. So if you're interested in learning more about this, there is an informational session on August 12th at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom, and you can sign up for that through the website. It's amybourque.com, AMYBOURQUE.com, and you can sign up for that and join us on the 12th and ask any questions or just listen in. There's no obligation to ask any questions or even sign up. So I would love to see you on that Zoom call, or you can just reach out to me directly by visiting the website and emailing me personally through the website, and I'm happy to have a phone chat with you anytime. So that being said, I'm extremely excited about this next training. I have a lot more material that I've added, some beautiful presenters coming in, and it is just an opportunity to really go on a self journey. And somewhere along the line, you learn to teach a yoga class. Whether you do that afterwards or not is up to you. So thank you for listening, and I hope to see you, soon. Bye.